following recent killings in Goma local government area. That's got a lot of people, not just people in the country, but around the world talking for many reasons. One of the obvious reasons, of course, would be that this isn't the first time. And many calls have been made for this problem to be addressed. Yesterday, we heard the president ask, why haven't there been any arrests? But that's on one side. On the other side, there are those who have also criticized the Benue State government to some degree. Some not happy with the public holiday that was declared. Others reacting to videos of children standing on the road to welcome the entourage of the president at the time. And so on and so forth. But the Benue State government has said it remains dedicated to solving this problem and ensuring peace. Just a few days ago, we had a conversation with one of the survivors of that incident, and he talked about how the governor has continued to preach peace and spoken to people to try and live together. Farmers, herders live together. And he said there's been relative peace for major part of last year until towards the end of last year and early parts of this year, where the killings resumed again. What could be the reason behind this? I'm joined in the studio this morning by the technical advisor to the Benue State Government on Media and Strategic Communication, Solomon Lorpev. Sir, you're welcome and good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Two things very quickly. I am Solomon UP.
Okay.
And not Lopez. That's number one. Then number two, I'm the advisor to the governor and not to the government.
All right. Okay, then.
I'm sure you know the difference.
Yes, of course, we do.
I don't want to wear a gown that is not mine.
All right, then.
Well, thanks for having me, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Mr. Solomon, thank you for being with us on the show today. So, yes, technical advisor to the governor of Benue State. Now, let's start with the president's visit yesterday. I mean, it's all over the news. The town hall meeting is one that many looked at, and people are still keeping a close eye on to see what the aftermath would be. What's the feeling in Benue State like now since the president's visit? Because some videos on social media suggest that most of the people aren't really happy because they expect more to be done. What's the mood like?
Well, Andrew, thank you very much. First of all, our hearts go out to everyone who has been affected by this very horrible massacre, the destruction of lives and property in the local government, Yilwasa, particularly. We all in Benue State are in a state of mourning where no one is happy. My governor is devastated. I've never seen him more depressed than this. It's a sad situation. And usually, no matter how terrible a child feels, and he's talking about the visit of the president, when the father arrives, there's some level of upliftment in their heart. That the president would think about it and pay attention to the fact that it was important for him to postpone some of the trips he had. He made that announcement on national television to come and be here with us in Benue State. It was quite exciting for most of us, just because we made our time to be here. We were in a mourning mood, we were crying, we were weeping, but the fact that he had our attention alone was good enough for us. Rather, we had his attention. So it may not be completely exciting for everyone else. As you know, it's a mixed crowd. Some are not particularly happy because nobody is happy about what happened. But there are expectations, different expectations. And like the people were saying, the proverb, disappointment is when expectation is higher than reality. When some expectations are taller than what is obtainable, most times they get disappointed. And at the end of the day, what they expected doesn't come up. But on the whole, we're happy that the president came. And when he came, he first of all went to the Benue State University Hospital to sympathize with the victims, the victims of the incident. You remember that about 127 of these people have been buried, 18 are yet to be buried. Preparations are being made, and 2 are in the morgue, and some are in the hospital, and most devastatingly. And so lots of them have been burned beyond recognition. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And when he went to the hospital to see the victims and consoled them and condoled with them, those of them who lost their families in the process. And then he came to the town hall. There was, first of all, a closed-door meeting with the governor and some very senior government officials, both from the federal government and the state government. Remember that about 7 governors also came to pay their condolences and also stand in solidarity with us. So these meetings were held before he came to the town hall. When he came to the town hall meeting, it was more like speaking to the general people, general stakeholders. The matters of security are usually not put out there on the table in the open for people to know strategy of what is happening. But then, generally, on the whole, in the town hall meeting was more of a condolence to the people of the general.
Okay.
For them to know that he stands with.
It then brings me to ask 2 questions that will follow. You have mentioned that you've never seen the governor of Benue State as sad as you've seen him in recent times following the incident. But then it brings people to question the idea behind the public holiday. And the video on social media has come under heavy criticism with regards to how children were seen. I want you to verify if that really was what happened, because that's the video online showing school children and standing on the side of the road, on the side of the road, the pedestrian walk. And I think it was a bit rainy from what we saw in the video. And a lot of people have said, what's the need for all of this? I mean, we are mourning, people died. This is not the first time. Why declare a public holiday and why have this? So is there some explanation on the part of the governor why that was done?
I don't know how old you are, but while you were growing up as kids, the excitement of having a president come to your territory. I remember Babangida came back in Benue State, we had Shagari, and the rest of them. The children were quite excited to see them. Public holiday, yes, but no arrangement was made for any children to come out and welcome the president. No arrangement was made by the government for that. Most of the people you saw came out of excitement on their own. And the governor would not carry Kobuka and canes to begin to flock people to get back inside. The little children who want to see the president should be allowed to do that if they can. All right? So, but that's not an arrangement that was made by the state government for people to come out. If I were to invite the president to your state, for instance, and you as a child are excited that the president of your country is coming, and you want to take a look at who he is, why should I stop you?
Okay.
That was not in the knowledge of the state government, and I want to tell you that clearly without mixing words.
Okay.
That was not an arrangement of the state government. He had no knowledge about that. Some of the schools within the premises and around the areas that felt it would come out. And there were not in their numbers, as you felt it was being painted. I don't know what came about the pictures online, but it's not an arrangement of the state government.
Okay. And then there were also pictures of men who were seen working at night, I think cutting grasses on the median of the road. That also raised plenty of criticism. People said, oh, all of this they're doing now because the president is coming and so on and so forth.
Let me let you know this. You can never satisfy everyone. Even if you walk on water, someone you stay with will say you're pouring dust on. All right? There's nothing wrong cleaning the environment when the president is visiting your state. There's nothing wrong. Okay, because we're mourning, then we shouldn't clean the environment. Is that what you're saying, Andrew?
No, that's not what I said, but people are worried, especially when they look at the incident that happened. They expected...
that the state is being cleaned up. How does that affect anything else?
Okay.
What should have been done? Is there an alternative to what should have been done? Was there anything that was meant to be done that was not done because the environment was being cleaned up?
Maybe the people...
We have to get into flimsy matters when we're talking of serious issues.
They're not flimsy matters because there's people from Benue State who are complaining. And
the loss of lives of people.
I think it's fair.
Cleaning of environment It means you're not prioritizing your agenda properly, your thoughts properly.
All right. So I think it's very fair that you get you to give us the idea of the governor, because I mean, if you've been cleaning and doing all of these things on a regular basis, then I don't think anybody would see a reason to look at it as strange.
About environmental
But but
sanitation, and we're
but
talking about
but
the disease
but
of
beyond
and the
that,
devastating thing that happened in Benue.
beyond that
We're
is
talking about that. But if you're putting me on the line to talk about environmental sanitation, that's not my call.
all right. Beyond that is some people have also opined that what's happening in Benue State with the killings is not just a herder farmer attack or clash. Some have labeled it some form of land grabbing. What do you think is really behind these killings? Because it's not starting now. It's been on for a long time. It got to its peak from around 2015. And from that time on, we've been seeing killings here and there, now and then in Benue State. Is it, as people are saying? We spoke to one of the survivors who also said that they believe that it's a land grabbing thing. And we know that it's what many have been saying. What do you say to that?
Yes, Andrew, thank you very much for the question. Insecurity generally in Nigeria is not just a Benue problem. It has been around the country. I think I saw some video yesterday. I'm not confirmed the authenticity of that, but some attack happened in Enugu State yesterday after the incident that happened in Abuja, in Yelawata. There have been attacks. You have had attacks in Plateau State. You have had attacks in Taraba State. You had attacks across the country. So it's not a peculiar thing to Benue State. The particular attention in Benue, I would agree with you that as the Tuti, if you listened yesterday to the broadcast, because it was live when the president came on 4 national stations. So the Tuti spoke clearly, and he told the president, which is the stand of most of us here in Benue, all of us here in Benue State, that it was the header from a clashes long time before now, about 20, 25 years ago, because the farmer is a businessman, and that's what we predominantly do here in Benue. All right, and then the cattle rearer is also doing his business as a herder, raising his own cows to sell for business. So anytime there was a clash where the cows ate the farmland or the crops of the farmers, there was settlement. They sat down, they talked about it, and then they settled. And then it gradually went into this fierce attacks by herders who left their arms, who left their sticks and their machetes that we usually knew them with, and started carrying guns, AK-47s and AK-49. And then if anybody complained that your cows ran into my farm and ate my crop, instead of settling the problem, they started shooting at them. And then they graduated from that into what is now we're referring to as terrorist attack and bandit attack and this land grabbing intention. They come in their numbers. They come in their numbers 200, 300 on motorbikes, and they don't have cows with them. They only carry weapons with them. They come to attack people in their sleep. That is not a fight between two people. That's an attack on people. If you want to fight, we'll face each other one-on-one. But this guerrilla style, because you don't even know where they are coming from. They attack and then they go back to some places. You don't know where they are. So they bring they terrorize the area, they kill the people, and the nation is their plan. So out of fear, everybody runs away. Now, there are some places where people have not been to for the past 13, 14 years because of this fear of people coming to attack them in the night in their streets. And so such areas are now left unmanned. These are areas that begin to take advantage. Bring in cows and begin to graze those areas, and so people settle down there. Because out of fear, the villagers will not go back there. So the Tuti told the president yesterday very clearly, this is not a herder farmer class. It is a straight up war against the Tea people, killing them and eliminating the Benue citizens to take over their land. We're not fighting back in return because we don't even know where to locate them. They run out into the neighboring places and come back. I don't know it's difficult to even think where they are. It's, it's, uh, it's not an experience one wants to go through.
Hmm.
So land grabbing is their intent. And the leadership of the Benue people is their plan. And this is also happening around some other areas of the country. And we are wondering what the intent is, what the plan is, and why the federal government is being quiet about it. Because if it's only happening in states in one place only, we know that, okay, fine, this is just a problem within this area. But it's happening across the country. So there's a problem beyond one state.
All right. We'll have a short commercial coming. When we take that commercial, we come back. One more question I would have for you to respond to, and then we'll take questions from the listener. And that would be what you've cited now. For 15 years, 10 years, there are areas in Benue where people have left abandoned. What steps is the government taking to see how they can return people to those areas, and how is the government also caring for those who are now internally displaced persons in their own state? We'll get your response to these questions after the commercial, so please just stay on the line for us. The conversation continues after now. Nigeria Info, 92.3 PH. Good morning. All right, conversation continues. Good morning. My guest still is Mr. Solomon Lorpev, technical advisor to the Benue State Governor on media and strategic communication. Thank you, sir, for staying on the line for us. Good morning.
I'm glad to be here, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
All right. So just before we go on, I'd like the listener to know that you can watch and listen to us live on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. You can also watch and listen to us on YouTube at Nigeria Info PH, or you download the Nigeria Info FM app from your Google Play Store if you are an Android user. But if you're an iPhone user, then download from the iOS store and you can be part of the conversation, send in your questions, and my guest will respond accordingly. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. Now, over to you, Mr. Solomon, quickly. So we understand that after the attack, some of the displaced people have been moved to an IDP camp. And then there are others who have been displaced over time. So how is the government dealing with this situation now?
Well, yes, as you said, this situation of there have been some IDP camps before His Excellency came on board. But when we came on board, we realized that the statistics were not being taken of those people who were being camped. And the camps were not habitable. They were not good to look at. It was bad enough that someone is displaced from their ancestral homes where they were comfortable, somewhere wealthy, very wealthy, but suddenly they have to now live and depend on other people to feed them and depend on the government to provide for them. And the environments were disgusting. But when the government, our governor came on board, His Excellency Reverend Father Dr. Harris, the primary thing we did was to make sure that at least before we return the people to their ancestral homes, because matters of insecurity have to be taken care of before they return back, or else we're going to take them back to their death. So we made sure that the camps were first of all taken care of. Well, about 16 of them across Benue State. And he made sure that he took care of them by upgrading the facilities where they stayed, not 100%, but at least much better than where they were staying in those stark houses. And so, first and then he provided water to make sure that there was running water in those areas. And then he enrolled some of them in healthcare, and enough mosquito nets were provided for them. And SEMA, our State Emergency Management Agency, has been working round the clock to ensure that everyone that is kept is numbered, taken care of, and provided for adequately where they are. The most recent ones that happened in the water, some of them have also been moved and shared into those camps. Now, what happens is some of these people also have relatives elsewhere, and so sometimes they don't move into the camps, they move to also live with their relatives. We also take note of some of these people. Now, provision has been made, mattresses in the emergency, in the immediate, were supplied to them, and some foodstuff was made available to them so that they were moved in there. Not enough to take care of them as they usually eat in their own houses, but at least for a start, until when we stabilize the situation there, we need full care for them. So remember, the ultimate plan is to take them back to their ancestral home. And that's the reason why His Excellency introduced the Benue State Durable Action Plan. The plan is to make sure that, first of all, we'll handle insecurity, and then we'll take care of the social amenities where these people have been abandoned for so long, where those areas that have been abandoned for so long, the social amenities like schools, police stations, and some of those very basic things need to be taken care of before you now make provision for durable housing for them to go back to their places. In the meantime, insecurity has to be taken care of to the grassroots. The core reason for it has to be handled, and before you can take them back, or else it has to be to and fro cheap up and down.
All right.
And that's what the state government wants to avoid.
All right, there's still one more question, but I'd like us to respond to some of the questions from the listener. So I'll take some of them on Facebook now. Some of those watching on Facebook, Kennedy Nathan says, please ask your guest, would they want the army to relocate its headquarters to Benue State or declare a state of emergency in the state or parts of the state, especially those areas affected by this senseless acts?
Well, it's not a question of the state of emergency. That is not necessary. Then it's not a matter of relocation. It's a matter of change of strategy. Now there's something you need to understand, and I'm sure you already know about the Nigerian security architecture. Most of that lies with the federal government, not with the state. It's the deployment of these people that come to the state. Now, no matter what you're going through, if the federal government deploys only 30 people to you, these are the people you have to make do with. All right? You don't have control. And that's the reason why my governor, when the president visited yesterday, he particularly advocated for state police. Allow us to raise the people here that know the territory, that are part of our communities, that are part of our system, who understands and will raise them in numbers, and they'll be paid to take care of security. So when it comes to the deployment, it becomes really difficult. And then when they're deployed, remember that their final directive comes from the federal government and not the state. There's nothing you can do. If you direct the soldiers, for instance, go into your water, for instance, and they are called from Abuja and say, don't go. What are you supposed to do as a state governor? So as the chief security officer of the state, you must have control of the security apparatus, or else they get a glorified outbound. You're doing nothing. The control is coming from elsewhere. You talk about security votes. What do you do with security votes without the real security with you? These are questions the state governors are asking, and my governor is asking.
Okay.
And so what we're talking about is change of strategy. The CBS came to town and he said, if what they have been doing over time is not working, the best thing to do is come back on the drawing board and change the strategy. And the president told them yesterday, CBS, get back into the bushes. What do you call them? DSS, tighten up your information flow line so that you get clear information before the incidents happen so that you can meet them in the board. These are the things we're talking about.
What would you say about arrests? I mean, I know that from between January and April or now, we've had over 200, if not 200 plus people killed just before this recent incident. And the president asked a very important question when he talked about why hasn't anyone been arrested. In the past, before now, have arrests been made? Let's look at the recent times from January till April, May. Have arrests been made so far? Not on this particular incident, but if any has been made about on the recent attack, you can also let us know, because the president asked that question and he felt like the answer was no because of the silence.
Well, yeah, you see, if the president asks the question, who am I? He asked the question because he himself is worried. So I am more worried, and my governor is even more worried than you are. The question is, why is there nobody making arrests? That's the reason why some people are making long terms of speculation. When you don't have the apparatus in your hands as a governor of the state, as somebody is taking orders elsewhere, it literally looks as if you can hold them accountable. It literally looks as if there are questions you can put out to them. They can choose to answer you or not to answer you. The president asked the direct question, why haven't any arrests been made? These are the questions we are also asking.
Okay.
You kill over 200 people, other people have gone to act destruction of, and then you haven't made any arrests.
All right, let's take a few calls and listen to what the listener has to say. 0817-923-0007. Please, when you call in, just go straight to your question so we can maximize the time we have available. It's very limited, so let's try to make good use of it. 0817-923-0002. You can also call 0817-923-0007. Those are the numbers to call to join in the conversation this morning. Just tell us your name and where you're calling from, and quickly just go straight to your question. Good morning.
Good morning, Ifemi Andrew.
Good morning.
Good morning to the resource person. My name is Letamba Sunday, calling from Bori.
All right, your question, please.
Yes. My question goes like this. There is no how the police will tell me that when this thing started, they don't make their investigation. And to the guests in the studio, have they been able to approach the police who has the intelligence to actually, undergo where people cannot go, to actually find out what is responsible for these killings? Because killing might go on, we might say, okay, these are Fulani herdsmen that they are doing that, but we don't know their specific reasons or who is behind that killing. So have they been able to approach the police? Have the police been able to give them any report?
All right, Letambari, thank you. Let's get the next question. I'll get my guests respond to all of them at once.
Andrew, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me greet your guest. My name is J.J. calling you from Port Harcourt.
Okay, go on, J.J.
I remember when Autumn was the governor of that state, yes, father was very loud in criticizing him then. Today, it's now his turn. I thought he came in with a strategy that he will use to curb learning from Autumn on then. If it is just to sit down and allow people being killed, then he doesn't have any business there. And Andrew, who said arrest has not been made? What about the 14 people that were arrested as a result of them protesting against the killing? I don't get it at all. And before I go, those people who lined up to receive the president, it's just like in India, where there was plane crash, and they declare public holiday in that state that there was a plane crash because the prime minister is coming. Does it make any sense to you? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria Info.
Good morning, Ifeami Andrew.
Good morning.
And greetings to your guest. Yes, I can. Calling from Ubumini. Ifeami, since the federal government security agencies have failed Plateau State government or people, I think it is high time for them to know that there is what they call a local security personnel. At least those who know their nooks and crannies of their communities. I don't know if you understand me. Let the governor and the people in Benue State establish their local vigilantes so that they will know the boundaries, the areas, the bushes, and the streets. Because these people are not ghosts. They are human beings that walk on the path. They are not flying. So that they can encounter these people and get them arrested. Because the IGP has failed the people. According to the Mr. President's question, that why can't they arrest at least one person to use their intelligence and get some people arrested?
All right, my friend, thank you. We'll take two more calls and then I come back to my guests so we wrap up. So please, Robin and Mufasa are on the line. Try as much as possible to be very short. Robin from Eche, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Ifeami Andrew. I'm listening to the guest. Mine is not question. I want to contribute. What we are shouting and crying today that is going on in the north, in Benue in particular, in this discussion, Ifeami Andrew is with us here in River State. Cannot tell me, or don't listen to me that I'm where I have been shouting since my land has been tapped. Where I do family activity. Women protested to government house. They met the former head of service twice. The same thing is happening here in River State. We are shouting now in Benue State. It's with us. The one they want to promote that guy in the state. Cry how they were chasing the bush. We are not discussing Benue State. Why the same problem that have you can afford to this level, which is already in River State here. That is how it starts before the killing.
All right, Robin. Thank you. Mufasa, quickly, good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, and good morning to your guests. When you're talking about arrest, I want to ask, because from the response so far, both on the part of the government of Benue State and the federal government, I think it's obvious that the identity of these assailants have not really been truly identified. So now, how do you arrest people that you don't know? Because the government once told us that these are foreigners from neighboring towns and villages and countries. Just recently, they said they are terrorists and bandits. So, how do you arrest a culprit that you have not been able to identify? And my second question is, the kids that were forced to stand on the rail, I want to ask the government man, whose idea was it to force children to stand in the way to welcome the president in such a circumstance.
All right, Mufasa, thank you. I think I'd ask him that question, and he says the governor had nothing to do with that. The government had nothing to do with that. So that settles that. Quickly, I'll go back to my guest now. If we can get your response in the next under 3 minutes to, I think, two very important questions that the listener had put out. One of them was, we know it was on the news that two employees of government were suspended following the anti-killing protest. That's one of the questions out there. And then the second one was whether there's been meetings with the security operatives in the state to try and understand what exactly is going on. So over to you now.
Well, yes, thank you very much. First of all, nobody has been suspended in the government of Alia. There is a PSA to the governor on youth and media, youth mobilization and media. We call them Crazy T. This statement has already been sent out everywhere. I don't know why it's still coming out. He has his own personal assistant or an aide, usually from PSA to advisors to commissioners. You're entitled to 2 staff. All right, so one of those staff participated in the protest, and in anger, he fired him. All right, so that's a personal thing between him and his staff, and it has got nothing to do with the government. I say this in very clear terms. I'm the spokesman for the governor. That was his own personal decision. He had nothing to do with it. Other people participated, and nobody fired anybody. If he decided to do that on his own because maybe the mass slighted him or whatever it is, that's his own business. It has got nothing to do with the government. On the second question about security, we're having meetings with security people. We usually hold state security meetings every week on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Now, some of the things discussed in those meetings, some of us are not privy to those information. But what I can tell you for sure as a spokesman for my government is that those questions are asked time and again, and directives are given and issued. Now, there's how far you can take a horse to the river and then force them to drink. The governor is not, he has complained time and again to these officers. Let's put this thing to rest. Make arrests. Get people. And nobody seems to be coming up with anything. At one point or the other, meetings are held, the questions are asked of the commissioner of police. What is going on? What's happening? Why are your people not at the point where they're supposed to be? I mean, there are several questions, Andrew. All Nigerians are asking these questions, and we're also
if the government is not satisfied, can't
in the private world, we don't know.
If the government is not satisfied, can't calls be made for? Can't calls be made for a change of a commissioner? Okay, then just please respond to this in few seconds. The people perpetrating this act, we spoke to a survivor who says they are Fulani headers. Some people in the past have said, they are people from neighboring countries. Who really are these people? Are they Nigerians?
No, we know for sure, and what we're saying is these are herders. Whether they are Fulani, herders are herders. We are not Fulani to the herders. The chief people are farmers. There are also other farmers, all right, that are not of chief origin. I don't know if you understand me. So what we know is these are herders, people carrying cows. But sometimes they come in and then we see those ones. But then there are others who come in on bikes without cows. How do you describe those ones? I don't know terrorists. I don't know bandits. There are 300, 200 of them on motorbikes. They're not carrying earth.
Okay.
Except if those people are highly mercenaries, they may not attach them to them. We give them another name. Of course, they're calling from somewhere. But until the security operatives come out to give us another name apart from the one they are telling us. Remember, that is where we get our reports from the securities.
All right.
They're the ones that tell us what is going on.
Mr. Solomon Lorpev, that's how much we can take. Thank you very much for your time. We hope to have you on again as things continue to develop in Benue State. And once again, just know that our condolence is with you and the people of Benue State. We hope that this is resolved as soon as possible.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for listening.
All right, have a great day. Well, that was the technical advisor to the Benue State Governor on Media and Strategic Communication. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. We're now going to commercial. Afterwards, the news, and then Jude comes in with Hello Port Harcourt.